Well, a friend of mine's just brought me an item to see if I can do some modifications on it, and it's a bit of an unusual item actually. It's off his Harley Davidson motorcycle, and what he wants me to do is to try and modify this tiny extension on this lever. Now, apparently, this when it's used, it goes against like a micro switch or similar kind of thing, and it activates some kind of a thing in his setup, in his handlebars. I don't know just quite what it is, but
Now, my mate said it's for his brake light. When he pulls the brake on, the brake light's not coming on, and it's due to this small pad here being worn, or the actual micro switch itself. And he's tried to make a little cover to go over the end there to extend the pad to make it a little bit thicker, so it activates the switch. It don't work right well; it keeps falling off. So he's asked me if I could come up with something to replace it. Now, the Harley Davidson, it's an XL 883L, and it's a Sportster, one of these super low type, and that's the info I've on the bike.
He's asked me if I can come up with an idea which will improve this, and I'll give it a little bit of thought. We could either cut a small piece of alloy and addelite it to the base, or Loctite it, or whatever super glue there could be. But the trouble is, the vibration might loosen it, and it could fall off. Anyway, I've come up with the idea that what I shall do is I'll mark out the small area there, and then I'll centre drill it or centre pop it, and then I'll drill part the way through with an 8BA screw, tap it 8BA rather, and then make a small pad which will screw in, and it can be either super glued in or just tightened up. Either way, it should be okay. I'll make it slightly thicker, and then you can try it out to see if it works. If it's too thick, I can always machine it a little bit off the pad. And if it's not thick enough, well, I can always make another one, because it's only a very small thing. So I'm going to have a go with this and see how it turns out. This is the little bit of sheet metal which my mate bent over to go over. Not particularly good really, but I shall mark it out and centre pop it, and then we'll make the insert. Now, what I've done here, I've got a small toolmaker's vise, and I'm just lining up I'm just going to line it up. It's almost level with this jaw. These jaws are obviously parallel, and that matches, and that's also parallel, so I think that will do. It's quite near enough is that, and just gently make sure that everything's tightened up. And I just need really to mark it with some marking glue, make it a little bit easier to see. All I'm going to do now is get these odd leg calipers and roughly get at the distance. I can't scribe it from this side because of the angle, so what I need to do is just to measure from this point to that point, and that's approximately, as near as damn it, 1/4 of an inch, so we need to be 1/8 of an inch from the end. So I'll just set the odd legs, or the Jenny calipers as we sometimes call them, or hermaphrodite calipers, and just scribe a line, and there we have a line which is 1/8 of an inch either side. I've just set the calipers, the odd leg calipers, and it's approximately 1/8 of an inch from that to end there, and from that point there to the middle is also 1/8 of an inch. So I'll just scribe a line. We'll just and there we have 1/8 of an inch, and from the back to the front is approximately just under 1/4 of an inch. So I'll just scribe. Now I've just got the drill size for the 8BA, and it's 1.70, so which will do the job, and that's where we're going to drill it. I'm not going to go drill right through. If possible, I shall just drill part way, although I think that it could be a bit tricky. We'll see. Right, I'm just about to get the drill. No, I'm not going to use this drill. I think it'd be too big for that. But we'll get this this small drill put in, and then we'll drill it. This is the 1.7 drill. I'm hoping now there'll be enough clearance between this, which there should be. We shall just raise up the table and then we shall see. I don't want to go right through, so we'll just set it to that point there, and that should do it. Looking at that, there's not going to be enough depth for tapping. I think I'm going to have to go all the way through, which it won't make any difference. It won't be seen, and it's not going to weaken it. It's just about to break through there, and that should do. And the next job is to tap. Here I have a set of 8BA taps. Here we have a start or taper tap, and then we've got the plug tap. So we shall start with this this taper. Right, I've got the taper tap there, and now I just need to fit into the hopefully into the small pin chuck.
Now I prefer to use a pin chuck on small diameter taps like these, because they're very fragile, these taps, and it doesn't take much to snap them. And besides, I can't get an ordinary tap wrench because of the shape of the lever. But even so, I'd still use this kind of method. There's a lot more control, you have a lot more feel, and I just put a drop of my favourite tapping fluid on this. Although they say, well, in fact, I've used paraffin quite a lot on alloy, tapping alloy, and get good results. But I aren't using any kind of little Tommy bar to act as a handle, because that can be tricky. Also, you've only just to put pressure on one side, and the tap will snap, and I don't want that to happen. That's the last thing I want, is having a broken tap in this lever, because apparently it's from what my mate said, it's having trouble getting spares. So I'll have to be very, very careful. Well, as I mentioned, I aren't using any kind of a little bar through this end of this pinch hook. Don't need it, and it's feeding through nice and easy. Don't need a right lot of pressure. They're only very, very fine anyway. And as I say, if you have any kind of a handle on it, you could easily break the tap. And as I say, I don't want that happening. Now the 8BA size is 0.086 in diameter or 22mm, and threads per inch is 59.1, and the pitch is 0.0169.
And incidentally, the 1.70 drill which I've just used to drill the lever is from a set of number drills. I've used these for years, and unfortunately over the years there's this odd one gone missing, but I do use these a lot, and I find number drills is really handy for in between sizes. And also I use letter drills, and I find these very useful. I use these quite a lot for in between sizes also. They're not often seen nowadays. I don't think a lot of people use them, but I've used them for a lot of years, and I used them when I was in the engineering in the tool rooms. Very useful. Now this is the smallest bit of round alloy I've got, which we'll have to do. Now to turn the diameter for the BA size, 8BA, this is actually 2.20mm diameter, 0.0866. So I shall be turning that down a short length, and then we'll turn the OD down to suit the pad on the lever. In actual fact, that can be put further back. It's sticking out a rather long ways, that, which is not advisable.
Now with it being such a short thread, I'm just using the compound to turn the small thread, not with the power feeding for that length.
As you can see, 8BA is quite small diameter thread, and we've got roughly 10th thou, I think, there to come up. Bit more. There we are, down to size, and now we just need to put the thread on there, the 8BA. And there's the BA die. Incidentally, if you don't know what BA is for overseas viewers, BA is stands for British Association threads. They're an unusual size thread, really. There were actually a scientific design of screw, and they start with about OBA, and that's about 6mm diameter and 1mm pitch, and it goes up in geometric sequence where each larger number was 0.9 times the pitch of the last. A bit complicated really, but that's they're quite commonly using, or were commonly used in the UK, but you don't often see them now. And in fact, getting to get hold of ready-made screws in BA sizes probably almost impossible now. But they were first proposed by the British Association in 1884 with a thread angle and depth based on the Swiss 30 thread, and it was adopted by the association in 1903. I think actually some electrical components are still in BA, in switch boxes and various things like that. I might be wrong there, but that seems to it seems to be something I seem to remember reading about. But there's quite I've got quite a selection. There's just about a full size set of BA screw dies here, and I have the same with the taps. But not much used these days. Mostly used in model engineering. Right, now I've turned down the finished turning down the diameter for the thread and the OD to suit the pad on the lever, and now I'm going to thread that. Now the way I thread small screws like this is to use this pad in my tailstock. I've always used this method, and it always works. Now I shall just put this tiny amount of cutting fluid on the thing, and then I just make sure that the thread is, the die is in the correct position, tighten up, and as I turn the die I just gently feed in the tailstock, just advance it ever so slightly, and once it starts I just take it out, and then I'll continue. You need to be very careful with small diameter threads with dies, because they can snap very easily. That pad really just makes sure that the die stock is actually square, and that shouldn't be far off. And there we have the thread, which is, as you can see, is a very fine thread. But that ought to do the job. We shall see. I need to part off the part now, and it's only going to be thin, perhaps a 30-second. Well, I'm just now about to part off roughly a 30-second, which should be enough. That is that. There's just a tiny pip on it which will file off, or I might even just put that in a split nut and just face it off. I think that's probably the best bet. that should be that.
Well, that's parted off easy enough. It should be thick enough, should that. If it isn't, it's easy enough to make another one for him, but I'm sure that'll be okay. And what I've done, I've put a small slot in it for the screwdriver, so it can be screwed in and out and adjusted accordingly. I think once it's screwed flush, it should be okay. That I don't think it'll need any more adjustment. He needs to try it out, and if it's okay, just maybe a tiny drop of super glue on it'll keep it in place. Although it shouldn't move, shouldn't that, once it's screwed in. And that's a simple repair. Quite a while now since I handled motorcycle parts. Although I used to be a biker in the 60s and 70s, and some of my first bikes, like the Nortons and Matchless and BSA, what I used to ride, they're now classic bikes. I paid not a lot of money for them, and now they're worth thousands of pounds. It's just amazing. I wish I'd have known then what they're going to be worth in the future. I think I'd have bought quite a lot of them and stored them. It's just amazing though what some of the bikes are fetching nowadays. It's just beyond belief. Well, since I finished this little modification, my mate's got back to me. He's tried it out and he says it fits perfect. It does everything he wants. It didn't need any more adjustment. It just screwed it down as I did, and it worked without any bother. So there you go, simple but effective. I hope you found this video of interest, and thank you for watching.